What up, racer? ItsJerone here, and welcome back to another League Racing video. Today we're back for the fourth round of the AOR season after missing out on the third round because, well, I was physically not near my PS4, so obviously I couldn't drive, hence I missed that race. Now, you might notice that I have improved my audio quality, and I actually bought a proper microphone for once, so yeah, I really hope that this audio is quite a bit better. I think it is, so I hope you appreciate that. Anyways, today we're here for Baku, which is a track I quite enjoy, I must say. It really is a challenging track. You always have to be alert on a street circuit, as a wise man once said. Anyways, looking at the standings, I think there have been quite a lot of different race winners and podium runners. Hence, my gap to the front runners, or rather to TRMK Victor, who's leading the championship, isn't that bad. So I think I'm still in this championship. There's definitely a shot, and in order to achieve winning this championship, I just have to stay as consistent as possible and try to score good points every single race from now on. Alright, now that we've got all those messages out of the way, you're currently looking at qualifying, and first of all did a banker lap on mediums, and after that I did run on the soft compound, and now I will use another set of softs to try and improve my time even more. Currently in provisional pole on a 37.6. Personally, I was expecting the pole time to be a low 37 or even into the 36s, and my previous lap wasn't the best one, especially the first sector wasn't really good, so let's try and make up a lot of time there. Turn 1, pretty clean. I mean, maybe I was a bit too tight on that apex. Then second turn, getting traction down was a lot better than the previous time, and I think I've built my setup around those first couple of corners and straight line speed, so I should be in a good place for overtaking during the race. Anyways, this right-hander, always a bit awkward. I'm not very good at that corner. I absolutely love this combination of the left and the right. And then on the traction, unfortunately, you can see I was running too far to the left, and on that curb you just don't really find traction, so I was sort of turned into the wall a bit, which lost me all the time I'd gained in sector 1. And then through the castle section, unfortunately the car in front of me had made a mistake in the castle section, and well, I was held up a bit, hence it's very unlikely I will improve my time now. So trying to absolutely send it here, and it didn't really work, and in the end that was my run basically. So before I started my run, I was actually thinking about leaving more space, because I thought something like that might actually happen, and indeed, it did happen. So yeah, that was just a bit unfortunate. I knew there was plenty of more time in my lap, and yeah, a bit of shame I couldn't show it really. Somehow I am still second place on the grid. I really don't know what everyone else was doing, but these times did not really feel that competitive. So I'm happy I'm still on on the first row of the grid in second place. For this race, it's actually an easy one-stop, rather than the game suggesting to do a two-stop with my tire, where I could easily do it on one stop. So just gonna go soft to mediums on an ideal race without any crashes. Also important to notice that Simu, Rally Monster and Pasty are both on medium compound tires, as the 5 red lights go out into turn 1, immediately getting ahead of Bankai, and we will have the inside for turn 2 as well, but Bankai brakes quite a bit later, and he actually gets the move back on me, and I had to leave the space there in order to not force him into a wall. So yeah, good job by him, and as you can see from the replay shot from the outside of the track, FT was trying to do a move around my outside there, and it sort of backfired for him as he ran too deep. So on the first lap we essentially consolidate our position. What should also be noticed is my teammate in P3. We're still fighting for the Constructors' Championship. Probably should have put up the standings for the Constructors' Championship as well, which I might actually do now. And unfortunately she was having a bit of issues with her setup, and yeah, she sort of had to switch her brake pedal to her clutch pedal, which was not very optimal. And in the end, yeah, I think she missed the braking point, and she will, I think, this lap or the next lap retire from the race and essentially become my race engineer. As we're trying to put a bit of pressure on Bankai, but I didn't really feel like fighting at this point, because over the last lap we had built such a gap to the cars behind that I thought, well, let's just stay here and let's just wait and try to build a gap collectively. I won't overtake him yet because I felt I had better pace. But a virtual safety car had been called out. So after that virtual safety car we somehow extended the gap quite a lot more. I think there was a bit of a kerfuffle behind at the time the VSC came out, hence we gained quite a bit of time. And unfortunately now I was just a bit too far behind Bankai to overtake, really. But yeah, so far everything is going to plan. We're building a nice gap to the medium runners, who might have a real shot at coming back at us later in the race. So we need to build this gap collectively in order to make sure we can try and finish 1 and 2 in this race at the moment. So I was just letting Bankai use a bit of his ERS, and I was planning to overtake him basically whenever I got a good exit. But then unfortunately a full course safety car has been called out. And of course we're going to use this opportunity, because I knew, well, my ideal pit lap was lap 7 or lap 8 for going from soft to mediums. So if we're behind the safety car, then pitting now for the mediums should also be an option. Hence we're just gonna go into the pit lane, as now of course Basti will take the lead along with Rally Monster, TRMK Victor, Kende and some other cars that started on a different compound than the soft compound. And in the end both me and Bankai rejoin in P8 and P9 respectively. Safety car coming in, pretty sure someone else also decided to make a pit stop, hence we both move up a position. I was actually quite far back at this restart. I'm not sure why I was. Maybe I was just trying to get an insane slingshot or something. But still, I was just way too far back. Anyways though, I do stay out of trouble this way. And that's probably the most important thing around Baku, as we see a Williams spinning off to the left, and Marcus behind was running very wide on that. No, it wasn't Marcus, it was Tigrism, I think. In the Mercedes running very wide at turn 1. Hence, both me and Bankai gain 2 positions from the restart straight away. And that puts us back into the fight, because we have 5 laps fresher medium compound tires than everyone else in front of us. Anyway, skipping to lap 9. And as you can see, TRM Cartel hit the wall in this very fast left-right section. And of course another safety car gets deployed, but bloody hell, this was... I needed a few recovery breaths after this, because I thought my race might have been over, because, well, if that car essentially got further onto the racing line, I'm pretty sure I would have just been a passenger and there wouldn't have been anything I could do about it. So at this stage I'd considered myself quite lucky to still be in this race, as we're also down to 12 runners. And I think at the moment Bankai went, I pressed the brakes a little bit to get a bit of heat back into the brakes, so he timed this restart very well, as he's already 7/10 clear. And in the end Tigrism wasn't really close enough to do anything in terms of challenging me. It should be noted that Tigrism now is on old mediums. I think Tash is on, well, sort of fresh hards, and then there's both Bankai, myself and Solid Ninja, who all pit under the first safety car for a set of mediums. So at this stage we just have to try and get back into a rhythm and essentially try to build a gap again and preferably take the lead of this race. During this, well, first half of the race I felt I was a bit quicker than Benkai, but obviously it's Baku, you don't want to risk everything, and ideally you only want to overtake on the main straight unless someone is extremely slow coming out of a corner. So yeah, I wasn't planning on taking any risks because this is quite a long race and the walls get very close to you. So trying to set up an exit, try to get close to Benkai, but unfortunately there's been another incident which we'll cut to now. So as you can see from Rally Monster's view, I think the McLaren and one of the TRM guys made contact with each other. It was just a bit unfortunate really. I think the one moved a bit to the right whereas the other moved a bit to the left, and that caused the incident basically. So once again we had another safety car, and of course Benkai is leading us again. So this time I want to stay closer to Benkai, whereas I lost 8 tenths on the restart on the previous lap. And he went very early. He kind of caught me off guard here again. This time I wasn't pressing the brakes or anything. And also, I should note behind, Solid Ninja, quite close. He got a much better restart than I did. So if he goes down my inside, then I have to respect that. But fortunately he doesn't. Didn't quite feel that confident on the brakes then, I guess. And we hold on to second place in this race. Should also be noted that Zach has 5-second time penalty, but that one will most likely be removed after the race because it's just one of those stupid contacts under the safety car. If you have very light contacts, that already gives you the 5 seconds. Anyways, cutting to I think a lap and a half later, going into the castle section. And unfortunately Benkai crashes out. He's completely out of the race, and now I couldn't do anything as I was just too close behind. And I have a completely red front wing. Front wing is completely gone. And I wasn't really planning on hitting the wall here, but I was planning on letting everyone pass, which I do because I don't want to disturb any other races. And fortunately for me, a safety car gets called out, and that could be either because of the crash of Benkai here, which you see in the replay cameras, or I think it was Rally Monster who also got contact after I let him past, and he just essentially went side by side with someone into that very awkward left-hander. Yeah, that's quite lucky for me that there's been a safety car at the right moment for me now, because it means I can of course replace my wing, and it's that close from the end of the race that I can actually put on soft compound tires as well. So I should have a grip advantage over everyone else in front of me, well, except Rally Monster, who also came in to replace his wing on this safety car. Yeah, once again I was just quite annoyed at the incident, of course, and that dropped quite far back, but in hindsight I'm also quite glad I didn't lose a wheel by making contact with Benkai there, as Cebu, Rally Monster, what are you doing? Thanks for the free position. And that promotes us back up to P6. A bit of charity from Rally Monster, which we will always take. And now in front, I'm really not sure how old tires everyone are at this moment. I'm not sure why you would have stayed out on hard compound tires like Tigerism has done, because those hard compound tires will feel horrible around here. And then there's Sastar on mediums. I'm not even sure what, I'm pretty sure Tash was also running hard compound tires still. And we're getting on the way for the restart, and this time I was actually having a good restart as we tried to go down the inside of Tigerism on our fresh soft compound tires, as Sastar was making a bit of a mistake. He got a bit sideways into turn 1, and that sort of blocked the run for Tigerism, and that also means I immediately get the opportunity to go down the inside of Saz and defending the inside quite heavily here as Sastar tries to fight back around the outside, and we have to respect that and leave the space then for this little right-hander, going as wide as possible, and with this superior grip we easily get the move done. Hence we are already back up to P4 in this race, as Rally Monster is of course trying to follow me, and I think somewhere in this sector he will actually get the move done on Saz. As in the meanwhile I think Tash made a bit of contact with the wall here, and oh my goodness, I nearly put it into the walls at the castle section as well there. It was so difficult during this race to essentially get your focus back on point after so many safety cars. And yeah, you just couldn't build the race rhythm really. And of course, what also plays a factor is that these soft compound tires have a lot more grip suddenly when you actually push them rather than driving under a safety car. So a bit of a close call there in the castle section as we try to make a move on Tash, who is still on hard compound tires. He turned in a little bit on us, but no major harms done there. Leaving a bit of space on the outside, but of course we're going to close the door here on the exit if we are ahead, which we were. And unfortunately Tash didn't really get a good exit, so that means that Simu will immediately challenge him down this second straight. And he also gets the move done, so he was just following me basically at this point. And yeah, a crucial phase of the race will come up now, because I think until the last 2 laps we will have a grip advantage over those medium runners in front of us, as Zach makes a move on Solid Ninja. And I'm pretty sure Solid Ninja had a bit of wing damage, which I wasn't aware of at this stage, but I think you will see that in a few moments time when we get through Sector 2. Otherwise I probably would have tried harder to force a move here on the second straight with this track. So at this moment I thought, well, I'll just sit behind then for a bit. But you can just see in this middle sector, Zach was just pulling away from Solid, and unless you really are willing to take a lot of risk, you can overtake in this middle sector, but ideally you do not want to. So as we see, a bit of wing flying by, not even sure what happened there. But on the exit of lap 22, going into lap 23 soon, down the main straight, Simu Rally Monster is very close behind, as well as TRM Kende caught up to us. And I have to time this perfectly, because I don't want to pass Solid Ninja too early on this straight, because that will then give a double toe for Rally Monster to try and overtake me. And defending the middle of the track here a little bit, gave him a little bit of space to go down the inside, and I thought he was going to for a moment, so I still turned out of the corner a little bit. And on the traction here, we get much better traction than Simu. I really built my setup around trying to get good traction here and straight line speed. Simu Rally Monster was a lot faster in the middle sector than me, so I think it sort of evened out, but I think I was faster in the right areas. And I think fortunately for Zach here, another safety car has been called out. Hence, we won't have any DRS overtaking opportunities anymore for the rest of the race. And to be honest, I was quite annoyed with this final safety car, not even sure why it came out. But essentially it will be a 2-lap sprint race until the end now. Zach will get those 5-second time penalties removed probably. Well, that's up to the stewards, but I'm pretty sure he will. And during this race I also didn't assume that he would have that 5-second time penalty. So at this stage in the race I just assumed I was in net P2 and I had to make a move on Zach for the win of this race. Anyways, restart, this time quite equal to the car in front. And yeah, I couldn't really do anything on those first straights, so essentially we will just have to wait for like the final time we will go down this main straight. And unfortunately I wasn't quite strong this time through the middle sector, so I got a bit of a gap to, or I dropped a bit of a gap rather, to Zach. And that also means that I won't be able to challenge Zach into turn 1 here. Of course, as with every 2-lap sprint you can just use 50% of your battery every single lap. And yeah, that was just a bit annoying. I couldn't really out-strategize someone with having being better on ERS management or being better on tire management. It was just safety car, restart, which was very annoying. And as you can see here, still trying to put a bit of pressure on Zach, making myself big in his mirrors to at least let him know that I'm there. But I didn't really get the run to try and overtake him. So we jump onto the final corner of the race, and unfortunately I messed up my exit quite badly. Hence he has a 4.5 gap. And will it be enough? Can we take this victory using all of my ERS? Zach is of course using also all of his ERS. Can my straight line speed carry me through to the win? And unfortunately I only finish a 10th behind Zach. Of course the game thinks I have won the race because of Zach's 5-second time penalty, but once again I'm pretty sure I will finish this race in 2nd place. It was also good that Rally Monster did a bit of a charity event to us by running into the runoff area immediately after the pit stop. I think that also really helped in gaining another position. Overall it was quite a weird race. I didn't feel like we actually had like a race at all, because it was just, there were just so many safety cars. I think I also missed a bit of action where someone essentially did Grosjean under the safety car. I'm not sure when it happened, but I think I forgot to put it into this video. And yeah, the scenes were just a bit weird. Strategy essentially was out of the window. You just pit whenever you thought there was a good safety car opportunity. And yeah, overall I think I'm quite happy with my comeback drive. I will of course happily take P2, that's 18 additional points in the standings. And of course at the time I was a bit annoyed I couldn't get the win, but I guess I should also be happy that I didn't die twice this race, once in the fast left-right section at the end of the lap due to a car crashing there, and also the contact with Benkai in the castle section. So yeah, I think I'll happily take P2 in this race. Anyways guys, let me know what you think of this improved microphone quality, and if you fancy it, drop a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you for the next race, which will be around France. See ya!